So what's the background on this project?
What do you mean background?
Like, what is there a specific buyer or what's
For my
the purpose?
bathroom.
For your bathroom? That the same one that Ash has been waiting for
Yes,
6
that's the only
months?
thing I have left is a mirror and 2 floating shelves.
So what's the plan?
I have to remember my measurements. I'm really good at that.
Yeah?
Really good at remembering my measurements, yeah.
Uh-huh.
The measuring tape I stole from here. You got one?
Whoa!
Look at that, we have 2 in the shop.
That's the one that I found, and then
Yeah.
you stole from me.
I stole it, yeah.
Wow.
Still can't remember the measurement. Means I have to go home.
2 hours later.
You remembered?
I went home.
Hey everyone, I'm going to try to walk you through this as I'm doing this. So here I'm just trying to find the wood I'm going to use. I just cut it to a random size that I thought I'd probably need. It's just with the live edge mirror, it's just really hard to figure out the exact length because you don't have equal sides to pick from. Just trying to find, trying to find the actual size there.
What's the plan?
Well, it's a little harder than a regular frame.
Okay.
You're dealing with uneven edges. So make sure you cover up your glass. It's just a lot harder to do.
Yeah, so here I'm just lining them up.
We're gonna miter all of them and see how it goes.
Yeah, just get the miters there. The last one I fit in as it lined up, and then just kept cutting away at it until I was happy with it. Taking apart, cleaning it up. Good time. I like using tape in all my miters. It's just that it helps keep you flexible, and it's especially masking tape. It keeps it from coming apart, and then keeps it going together.
We got 24. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then 30 this way. But I'll just end up cutting it.
Get this big chunk off.
Yeah, so this will be trimmed across to here. And then this one down here, and then I'll just square it up here too, this one here.
Yeah.
That's it.
Awesome.
Until it dries.
I glued it together before I mitered or planed it, just because there were some twists in the board, and I figured it'd probably be easier to do this after the fact and try to line everything up as I have a stock piece of wood.
Okay, so I got it squared up. I'm just gonna sand the frame and then we're gonna rotor in the back for the mirror. I'm just gonna start with an 80. So I personally don't like roundovers. I prefer beveled. That just looks crisper to me and cleaner.
Yeah, this is my phone I'm
And
using, and my
that's
phone
old
is
school.
put through a bunch of abuse. So the mic is all clogged up, speakers are crackly. So that's probably why you can't hear me that well. I was just mentioning that I like a bevel versus a roundover.
My mirror is a 24 inch mirror. I just measured center. And then 12 on each side. And I got a 30-inch mirror.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find center so I can rotor out the edge for the mirror to sit on.
Just making sure you don't see behind my mirror. Take it all covered.
As you can tell, I used a bag of self-leveling to hold my piece in place. You do what you gotta do when you're limited by tools. I'm not sure what I'm trying to say here, but I think it's something about the mirror. I think I just had a little bit more cleanup to do. But yeah, there's the groove all cut out for the mirror.
Gotta make a French cleat to hang it by. And then we'll screw that on and then we can finish it.
Just cutting the French cleats up. Putting on the finish. I like to use a shellac finish on all my stuff. It's just because it dries fast. You can pretty much finish a piece the same day. When you go shopping. A little light sanding. With the shellac, when it dries, it hardens all the wood fibers in place. And then just put a little bit of board butter on it. I like finishing everything in shellac and board butter.
Okay. Should I do it without the mirror first? Probably easier.
Working with the wood.
See what I'm doing? Try not.
So here I just put both pieces of the French cleat together. So the French cleat is just beveled, two beveled pieces of wood at the same degree. I stuck it in and put my level on it, and then I could draw my line so I know exactly where to hang that French cleat at.
That look good there? I could adjust it that way.
I like French cleats because they're you can adjust them left to right quite easily because it just slides on the cleat itself. There you go, hanging all on its own. Time for the lights in the mirror.
Most likely will stop when I'm talking and then fast forward. Is there anything else?
Okay.
I already have like 2 hours of footage. This can be trimmed to fit any size. Yes, it can be. I wonder how well it goes around corners.
You're about to find out. Look, a man who takes the time to look at the instruction manual.
Being sexist.
My wife thinks she's so funny.
You're being a meme.
Here I'm just trying to make sure it's not going to stick out on the other side of the mirror. You don't see the light itself, you just want to see the glow. Makes a great night light. It actually has a built-in movement.
Is it gonna work?
Lunch is on you if it doesn't.
It's always on me.
Hey, look at that. I guess I'll keep you around.
How does it turn on?
No, we came to say hello.
I think I have to put it like here somewhere where the mirror doesn't. See that?
Sure.
Yep.
And so it has a motion sensor built into it, so it's really nice and convenient. You don't have to turn the lights on, you just walk in.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
I got these things. What are they called? Pointers?
Super technical term.
Glazer points? Hey, it looks like what I'm doing.
Happens on occasion.
You're gonna see yourself in the mirror now.
That's unfortunate.
It's not very bright. I guess lights are on.
Igor flips the switch.
That's not bad. I want to step out of the footage.
I know, I don't know how.
That's my youngest kid there.
Now it's fit.
Does it look nice?
Yeah.
So it stays on. It'll stay on as long as and it'll see movement.
See you guys next time.